Hello, this is a video on APA. So we are going to go over everything you need to know about how to write 7th edition APA. So here we go. We are going to start on the title page. Oh my goodness, what did I just do? There we go. I'm going to make it a little smaller so you can see what it looks like. Okay, first of all, the running heads no longer needed. If you're going to do it correctly, which is all caps, shortened version of the title. No longer does it say running head, you just put it there. However, if it's not needed, I wouldn't do it because if you do it and you do it wrong, then you lose points. So it's no longer needed, just don't do it. Page number starts on page 1 at the top. Interesting title, bolded and centered, begins 12 lines down. Don't forget if you're double spacing, count 6. And then you skip a line here and you have your name, the school and the college, the course, my name with no credentials, or whoever you're turning it into, and the date the assignment is due. If your professor wants you to do an author's note, it would go here. Author's note, center bolded, indented, and like that. Okay, title page. Page 1 of your paper, the same interesting title that you gave it here, center and bolded, you put here, center and bolded. This paper, it's an explanation paper of APA. So it kind of just starts, the first page starts with the title page, title of the paper, not the word introduction, center, bolded. This area is for the introduction to your paper. Every paper you do should have headers, level 1s and level 2s. At this level in your education, something without headers would just be an essay, which is what you did in high school. So use your headers, please. Level 1 header, center, bolded, each word is capitalized. Level 2 headers, flush left, bolded, each word capitalized. Make sure you use your tab key to indent any paragraph. Here is a table of how to do levels of headers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. Abbreviations. Make sure before you use an abbreviation, the first time you must spell it out, and then you can use an abbreviation after that. So a really good explanation of that is right here. One of the biggest problems when turning in your papers is that it has to be set to 0 point. When you open up a new Word document, it is not automatically set to 0 point. So you have to physically do it. So you'd highlight your whole paper, go up here in Word. There's this little tiny box with an arrow. Right here, spacing, before, after, double. So it needs to be 0, 0, don't add a line. Okay, let me show you the difference. We'll just use this paragraph. No, that won't work. Let's use this beginning intro here. It comes standard 0 and 8. That's standard. I'll go a little bigger just so you can see the difference if you don't set it to 0. So, and it did nothing. Okay, let's do it this way. Hold on. Let's try it again. It's like, no, I won't change. I know you don't want me that way. It should work right here. Oh, sorry, because I have the box checked. Okay. Do you see how it's separated right here and put extra space? Okay, watch it again. See how it's just normal double spaced and then there's too much space there? I'll make it even bigger so you can see a stark difference. See, it keeps adding space. It's set to 8 point. That's how it comes standard. You need it 0. So see, it just keeps going as if there's no change. And click that box. Okay. So if you're using Word, here's how to do it in Word with directions and pictures. If you are using a Google Doc, here's how to do it on Google. You go to Format, Lines and Spacing, Custom Spacing, 200, Apply. Okay. And I don't have pictures for the Mac, but if you have a Mac, you go to the box where you set your line spacing, double, single, hit Options, Spacing, 0, 0. Okay. Every paper, you need to do that. I can't tell you how many times a semester I write back on a paper, please set it to 0 point. Okay. Your font. Look at that right there. Okay, your font can be any of these. But just a heads up, don't make them tiny fonts because we can't read them. Margins 1 inch all around, spacing double spaced, only 1 space after a period. Direct quotes, you should only have them 1 per page. Make sure you use quotation marks. Here's really, really important. Every direct quote must always have a page number. Okay. You can actually be cited for plagiarism if you use a direct quote with no page number. It's very serious. So every single direct quote needs a page number. And your citations look like this. Your in-text citation, last name, comma space, year, comma space, lowercase p, period, space, and the page number, parenthesis, period. Okay. If there's no page number, then you cite paragraphs. You literally start counting down paragraphs until you get to that direct quote. So here's some high misses in that area. That's mistakes I see students making quite often. You don't set to 0 point, and you don't put a page number if it's a direct quote. So please do that. If it is not a direct quote, please do not put a page number. It just gets confusing because then either you did something wrong. Either you put a page number with no direct quote, or it's a direct quote and you forgot quotation marks. So if it's a direct quote, put your page numbers. If it's not a direct quote, please don't. Okay. Block quotes, 40 words or more, must be indented, the whole quote, double spaced without quotation marks. So it would look like this. According to Nelson 2020, colon, and the whole thing here is indented. See? And then at the end, page 42. Because each direct quote needs an author, a year, and a page number. So here, up here in the intro, we have Nelson 2020, so page number at the end. Or you can write something like this: based on this information, colon, indent the whole thing, and then you can put the author, year, and page number at the end. Now, one thing that the APA manual made a mistake. They did it in 6th edition and left it as a mistake in 7th edition. You can actually put the period there or there. Personally, I would put it here because this is where you put the period in every other quote that you make. But technically it's not wrong if you put it here instead. Okay. In-text citations. Remember, if it's a paraphrase, you do not need a page number. If it's 2 authors and it's a regular in-text citation, just Carter and Jeton, so you would use the little and sign and the year. If you're using in a sentence such as Carter and Jeton often go to lunch. Carter and Jeton, and then the year would be in parentheses, and you use the word and, not the little sign. So please note the difference. Okay? Never, ever, ever put the first name or the initials in the in-text citation. So you would never put like Carter, comma, D and Jeton, comma, S, A, whatever. No, never. Just the last names. Okay. And here's a table, how to cite authors in text. 1 author, 2 authors, 3 or more, etc. Okay. If there's no author, like on a website, you can make sure you look though on the website, scroll all the way down and look for an author. You can use the website or organization name, also check for a date very often at the bottom of the page. Citing an article in text. So if you're citing an article, you would italicize it. However, it's always better just not to use the name of the article, just use the author. So instead of saying in the article, stress and nursing students, in parenthesis, Carter 2022, it'd be better to just say, for example, the article by Carter 2022 implies that blah, blah, blah. You actually don't need the title. ChatGPT. I will do a separate video on ChatGPT. However, in terms of citing ChatGPT, you need to cite what text was used or thought of by ChatGPT. So for this example, when prompted with, is the left brain, what is this? Is the left brain, right brain divide real? Okay, that's not even a sentence, whatever. And this is the response. And then you cite it as OpenAI 2023. Okay. And it will go on the reference page. What you cannot do is just put OpenAI on the reference page and not say where you used it in the paper. You have to say, you have to reference. If you're going to use it, you have to say, this is where I used it. Okay. The Bible. When quoting the Bible, you cite and spell out the version the first time you're using it. The chapter and verse needs to be included, and the Bible will go on the reference page. After you have cited what version you have used, you don't need to repeat that. So if you say John 1:1, parenthesis, New International Version, Jesus said, blah, blah, blah. And then later on, you say, and in Matthew 28, 19, Jesus went on to say, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to say NIV again. It's just assumed you're still in the NIV version unless you change versions. If you do change versions, then you do need to obviously put which version you're using. But if you stay in the same one, you only have to cite it once. Okay, we don't need page numbers for the Bible. It needs just chapter and verse is fine. Okay, numbers, you spell out 1 through 10, and after that, you can use actual numbers. A conclusion, center bolded. See, all these are level 2 headers. Here's level 1. The word reference should go at the top of the reference page. If there's more than one reference, it should say references. They're in alphabetical order. Not the article. The list of articles are in alphabetical order, but the names within each article are not. So I'll show you an example. DOI numbers, if they're available, please always use them, and the format should look just like this. HTTPS, and then make sure the DOI is lowercase and should look just like that. Article numbers are sometimes being used in place of page numbers and should be formatted the same way. Italicization and capitalization. Okay, so think to yourself, in every reference, what is italicized and what is capitalized? Every single reference, think those things. If it's a book, the title of the book is italicized. If it's an article, a journal article, the title of the article through the volume number right here is italicized. Okay? What's capitalized? Always, 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 always in the title, whether it's a book, a journal, a website, whatever. It's the first word and the first word after a colon and anything proper. So lead, lessons, and Jesus. Leadership and theory. That's it. Don't capitalize every single word in the title. It's incorrect. And if you're using like a Cite This or some kind of citation manager, watch this because it'll do it incorrectly. And just because it cites it like in all capitals and you paste it over doesn't make it right. So you have to change it. You have to change every one to lowercase except the first word after a colon, and anything proper. So let's go down to the next title in journal articles. First word, that's it. Here under Dawson, first word, the, first word after the colon, developing, and Michigan. Okay, so in the titles, first word after a colon, anything proper. When you get to journals though, the name of the journal is also capitalized. Journal Nursing Administration, capital. Nursing Management, capital. And don't forget, it's italicized all the way through the volume number. Okay? Here's what I would do. When you're writing your papers, open this up. Open this up or something that looks just like it. And space by space, period by period, capital, italicization, everything, make it look exactly the same. Okay? And then here's what I was explaining also. There should be a comma right there, by the way, like that. So this will go in alphabetical order: Curtis, Dawson, Parsi. But this is not alphabetical. The authors of the journal are not alphabetical. These were decided by the authors, the order they put them in. So Abersold does not go here in front of Dawson. If it's listed on the article as Dawson first, Dawson goes here first. You go the order that it is on the article. So these are not alphabetized, but these are. Okay. And then here's an example on how to do all kinds of references, web pages, online news articles, online reports, manuscripts, like an unpublished manuscript. Here is a master's thesis or a doctoral work would look like that. Here is how you cite ChatGPT. It's OpenAI, ChatGPT, whatever version, large model language, and that. If you have 20 or more authors, you list them. When you get to over 20, then you can use this little, like this, and you go to the last one. There's no et al. On the reference page. Okay. And if you just want to look at this reference, first word is capital. This being proper is capital. The title of the journal article is capitalized, Bulletin, American Meteorology Society. And it's a journal, so it's italicized all the way right there, only there, through the volume number. Okay. It stops at the issue number. Okay. So this is the volume number, issue number, page number, right here. There's no space right there. Just right there. That's what's italicized. Does it make sense? No. Personally, in my head, no. Why would they do that? I don't know. Here's the thing, it doesn't matter. They didn't ask me what I thought. I don't have any input in this. This is 7th edition APA. This is how we do it. You are a nurse. You follow orders. You don't get to say, oh, I'd like to put the period here or the decimal point here instead. No, you follow exactly what it's supposed to be. And the same is true with APA. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is. It's detail. You're a nurse. You do details. Do it exactly like this. Okay. Citing the Bible is a new thing in 7th edition. So here is how it goes. Bible version, italicized. Date of publication, book, chapter, and verse. So here's the example, New Living Translation, all cap, each one has a capital. It is italicized. The date of publication, chapter, and verse. Okay, and then here are some examples of how to do that. And how to cite Nursing Central is right here. How to cite a specific article within Nursing Central, right there. If you're going to do appendices, Appendix A, this is center and bolded. And then you give the appendix a title, which is also center and bolded. Okay. For some reason, you double space down before starting the paragraph. And then you could add like a graph. And then you would call it figure A1 or whatever you title it. And then you would describe the little chart or graph, whatever. Okay. And I just gave some examples there. So Appendix B, the title of the page, there's your figure, figure 1, title, and a little note about it. Okay, and then at the end of it, there's just some differentiations between 6th and 7th edition. URLs are no longer needed and retrieved from, that was actually APA 5th edition. So this is absolutely no. Okay, don't do that. The new way. So this is a magazine. So here is the link to that. If it was a journal, it would be a DOI. Ebooks no longer require the type of ebook. So for example, The Fault in Our Stars Kindle version. No, it doesn't matter anymore what version, where you got it, just The Fault in Our Stars. And again, you can see here retrieved from, no, it's just that. Okay. DOI, URL. So it used to be DOI, all capitals, and then that. Now it's the actual link. So https lowercase doi.org and then your DOI. In 6th edition, the city and state was needed on a book. Now it's just the publisher. Okay, so this is located in your Blackboard. It has everything you need to be able to correctly do your APA paper. Let me open up a Blackboard. So in each Blackboard, there will be an APA section. Looks like this. Official CBU College of Nursing APA 7th edition guide. That's the paper we just went over. Right there. Below that, APA help. So I have just examples of individual. Oh, I forgot how to do a block quote. Okay, I'll click right here. What I would tell you to focus on here, right here, APA paper checklist. Let's click on that. I'll show you. Right here. So I teach research and writing. We go over APA a lot. And then in like the transitions classes, graduate level, you should be a little better at it. But I've noticed certain mistakes that students make consistently. So I made a quick little checklist of those mistakes. If you open this checklist and you go through every time you write a paper, just go through this checklist real quick and fix all this stuff, you'll be great. Okay, good to go. So did you follow the template for headings? All level 1s are center and bolded. All level 2s are left and bolded. Next, make sure every quotation has a page or paragraph number exactly like this. Okay. Make sure you put a space here. P period space 14. Okay. It does not look like that. That is incorrect and you will lose a point. There is a space there, just like that. Okay. Some examples. Do your block quotes have a colon before starting? And it has an author and year like this, Carter 2022 states. The whole quote is indented. There are no quotation marks. And the page number at the end. It's a direct quote, so it has to have a page number. Somewhere within this, you need an author, year, and page number. Okay? The whole thing is indented and there are no quotes. Again, does it make a lot of sense? No, but it is what it is. Don't print on both sides of your paper. Does your Bible have a version? Are your periods after the parentheses like this? Even when referring to an appendix, see Appendix A, like that. The period here is after your parenthesis, always. Is your spacing set to 0 point throughout the paper? Please go back and do that. Are there any hanging headers that you need to push to the next page? Actually, we can cross that out because that was a 6th edition thing and not a 7th. Last names only for in-text citations. Carter 2022, not Carter DL or Carter D Carter. No, no initials, no credentials, just last names. Okay. And then this is for my research class specifically. Is there an intro and conclusion to your lit review? Is there an introduction to your theory section? And citation in the intro of the paper. That's also for my research class. Make sure there's a citation in the introduction portion of the paper. Okay. So if you open this checklist and you go through this, all of this, you will probably not lose any points or very, very few. But I can tell you, if you don't, here's where you're going to miss points right here. You don't put a page number for a direct quote, 5 points off the top every time. Okay. If there's a couple of these 2 by 3, I stop grading and I give it back to you. And I say, just redo it. I'm not even going to grade this. Okay. You have to have your page numbers. If it's direct quote, block quote, make sure to indent it. No quotation marks. And the other part, if you don't go through and check it, you will forget and you will get points deducted, is the 0 spacing, 0 point. 0 point page numbers, 2 biggest misses. Okay. And the reference page, the whole reference page. What's italicized, what's capitalized. Make sure you go through that. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, OWL Purdue is a great resource. Just type in OWL Purdue 7th edition APA. Or, like I said, you can always go back to Blackboard and there's little examples of everything here. Just go through and open them and look at them. Just get familiar with them. And then when you're writing your paper, open this up. Or if you have specific questions, open something up here. And then before you turn in your paper, open one of these. This is the summarized version that I just showed you. This is a very detailed version of what I just showed you. I can show you real quick. It's another checklist, but very detailed. Okay, title page, authors. So this is just very detailed. It's kind of like the paper, actually. So at least open the small checklist, and for sure open the main paper and go through it. Make sure your reference page looks exactly like the reference pages in the paper. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.